Hey guys, TheVerveNerd here, and today I'm going to be presenting Papers, Please. It's currently in beta form right now, and it's designed by a man named Lucas Pope. And this game is a document thriller, is what they call it. A dystopian document thriller, in fact. You may think, okay, interesting. What is a document thriller that's dystopian? Well, it's kind of hard to explain, so probably the best way to demonstrate would be to actually show you, right? Aside from this foreboding logo here that looks curiously Soviet, right? So let's go ahead and continue in a game that I've already started. Let's kind of take a look at what this game has to offer, all right? So I'm starting a new day out here. At the beginning of each day, you do get a preview what the day is going to be like or what has happened in the news previously. Today is the 25th of November, 1982. That takes you back, right? If you were alive at that time anyway. I was, unfortunately. But I know a lot of you probably weren't. All right, let's see. Terrorist strike at Greston. Kalechi and agitators suspected. So what happened yesterday, previously, was we had a member that was waiting in line to get their papers approved go up to the guards and basically blow them up, essentially. So this is kind of an important thing, right? Because a lot of this has kind of been going on in the news lately. So for this game to bring up stuff like that, it's pretty risque. I know how people's opinions and stuff get with stuff like this. So it's very risque on the material here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, and let's see what we have. Alright, so this is basically your interaction. This is all you see pretty much throughout the entirety of the game. You don't get to move around or do anything like that. What you do, however, have is a interrogation booth, essentially, and kind of a preview of how many people are waiting in line. And then here you have your desk, essentially. And in this desk is where you would take documents that people would give you. You basically drag them over, kind of like that. And you basically either approve or deny their citizenship in the great country of Arstotzka, right? So that's essentially what's going on here. Now, it varies from day to day what you will look for in terms of like papers. Hence the name of the game, Papers, Please, right? So, for instance, today we're kind of looking for, let's see, entry for non-citizens is now regulated. So people who are not citizens of Arstotzka now have to provide an entry ticket. So we will kind of look out for that here as we continue on. Verify information before stamping passports. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, continue. Missing documents can be correlated by highlighting the counter and pertinent entry in the rule book, right? So, for instance, here's our rule book that we look at, which provides what the rules are for the day, a map to kind of get a look at the different cities and the different regions, which is, of course, important, and a list of valid document seals, which is important later on in the game because you do have to start like comparing the seals on the passports they give you and stuff. So today, however, we'll take a look at the basic rules. Now today we need to look out for entrants having a passport, documents being current, and foreigners requiring an entry ticket. Those are the three main things that we need to pay attention to today. Of course, as well as expiration dates on their passport and making sure their photos match up and making sure they're of the right sex, male or female, because you will get people that come in that say that they're male and they're obviously female or something like that. So, and then what we have, what we can do is what I was just reading here about correlating stuff. You've got this little discrepancy detector over here that you can highlight like a rule in your book and say they don't have a passport. You can highlight this and then click on the desk. And if they didn't hand you a passport, there would be something that says a discrepancy detected. And then you could interrogate them on as to the reasoning why they do not have their passport, which is pretty cool. And then you can just be like, hey, you don't have your passport. Sorry, I can't let you through. Here's our little approval or denial stamp thing. Once they give you their passport, you will slide it under here and then either approve or deny it depending on the information they've given you. Now, the interesting thing about this game is that it's not just approving or denying people and making sure the information's correct. It's about really tough decision making outside of that. If you've ever had to deal with like airport security, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about here, because sometimes you might not have the correct paperwork or somebody might have messed up down the line, and yet you know that what you have, you know that you're good as far as going through, but your paperwork doesn't say that. So in that case, it would be up to the interrogator to make that decision. Now, I can let anybody through here I want to. They could literally be a booger, like writing on somebody's coat that happens to flop off on the table. I could let it through if I wanted to. So it's kind of cool in that what you can who you can let through and not let through in this game, and that does actually have an impact on the gameplay. You will get 2 warnings if the information they give you does not match up or whatever in your records. Say they try to falsify information and you let them through, you will get a warning saying, hey, don't do this again. All right. So say you let somebody through who shouldn't have gone through a second time, you'll get another warning saying that this is the last offense. And then after the second warning, if you let people through who shouldn't go through, you will get a 5 credit reduction in pay for every person that you would let through beyond that point. So it's not like you lose the game for letting people through who do not possess the right credentials, but you do get penalized for it after a certain point. So you kind of get 2 freebies to kind of float around with and play around with, which is kind of interesting. So say you sympathize with the person and you decide to let them through. That's kind of like an interesting mechanic that this game does have. Among others, actually. This game has more than just that mechanic, but that's a pretty cool one right there, right off the top of my head. So let's go ahead and get started in this game and see what it's all about, right? So basically, you just click on this like flashing intercom here to basically let them through. And one person at a time, they'll walk up to your booth here. You'll ask for their papers. They'll hand you their papers along with their entry ticket. As we mentioned earlier, they have to have a passport, and foreigners have to have an entry ticket. She is a foreigner. She's from Kolechia, so she has to have a valid ticket. Today is the 25th of November, so it is valid. Her expiration date is the 84, so that's valid. Her picture matches up. Her sex matches up. So we're going to go ahead and let her through. That's essentially what it's all about. And then basically you just slide the stuff back over her to her and let her go on her merry way, and then you just let the next person through. If I would have messed up there, I would have gotten a citation as soon as they would have crossed that line. So that's something to keep in mind. Here's an example. This person's photo is kind of suspicious to me. I don't know but apparently the game says that they match up. But one thing that I noticed right off the bat is that she does not, she's a foreigner, she's from the Federation, and she does not have an entry ticket. So let's go ahead and call her out on that. All right, see, if I would have just denied her there, then she would have went on her way, but she just simply forgot to give it to me, right? So that's something that's pretty important about this game to realize, is you don't necessarily need to deny everybody who comes through who doesn't present something, right off the bat. It may be that they forgot it, or something as simple as that. She wants to make me happy by offering me a chance to go to a brothel. Well, thank you very much, lady. I am flattered, frankly, but I don't think my wife and children would approve of that. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to send you on your way. I'll take care of this for you. Thank you. On you go. Maybe I'll give this to somebody more needing, like you, for instance. Do you want it? No, you don't want it. Okay, well, I tried. All right, she's from Kolechia. She looks like she's the right person. Female is the right sex. Expiration date, however, is a discrepancy, because the date is past that. It is November. So we're going to interrogate her. Why does she have an expiring document? Well, she says that's a mistake. I just renewed it. So let's go ahead and let her through. Say, let's take her word for it, guys. And hey, you know what? She said she just renewed it. Maybe she just renewed it. So let's let her through. All right. So we get a citation for that. It's our warning, saying that, hey, we let somebody through who shouldn't probably have gotten through there. But in this case, I knew that, of course, but I went ahead and let her through anyway, because you do get money based upon who you let through. So sometimes, it's okay to like kind of fudge that little leeway that you get and go ahead and let somebody through to make more money for your family, for instance. You have to pretty much balance all of that stuff. Her entry ticket here is not valid, so let's go ahead and let's see. I don't know if I can. It's valid on 12/11 of 82, so I'm just going to deny her here because I can't figure out how to like interrogate her about that. But I don't get any money for letting people leave, which is kind of unfortunate. Also, something to note that I probably should have mentioned earlier is you are timed in this game. So it's important to do this as quickly as possible, really, as you go through. Everything looks okay here. She's got the right papers and her sex matches up, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and keep going. So yeah, it's very important to try to be quick about it as you are. This guy, he looks like he's up to no good. Okay, here we go. Glory to our Statska. Yeah, dude, you don't have any papers. You have no papers. Yeah, so he's like, passport. That's so great. Passport not required. Right? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I cannot let somebody through on hearsay, good sir. Alright, you are not from this country, and you do not have an entry ticket. You're a foreigner. Where's your entry ticket? Tell me. It was lost. Alright. It was lost, sure. I'll take your word for it. I'll let you through. I'm gonna get a citation for this. But, I did it on purpose. Because I need the money, right? I need to feed my family. Alright, what you got? You're also a foreigner. So, once again, foreigners need a ticket. Oh, look, she has her ticket. So, we're going to go ahead and let her through. See? It's good to interrogate them. You could just deny them, but in this case, it definitely does pay off to let them through if they just happen to forget to give that to you. Female, your picture does not match up, I'm afraid. There is something going on there. It is an old picture. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't let you through, lady. I already got 2 citations today. I can't let you through. Alright, so essentially that's what you see at the end of the day, right? You basically get a summary of how many people you let through, how much money you had in savings previously. Today I broke even. I let 10 people through, and I have to pay $50 for rent, food, and heat. So I have $5 left over, or 5 credits left over. Now, what I could do is I could opt out to give my family, provide food for my family, which would let me have more savings for next time. But over here on the right, you see your family status. They would be cold and hungry in that case. Right now they're cold because the previous day I failed to provide heat for them. So basically, if your family's status gets like really bad, then you would lose the game, because this game is more, how I mentioned earlier how it's more about just letting people through or denying them. This game is really about providing for your family and trying to do a good enough job at your place of work to keep providing for your family. So you could mess up at work potentially, but as long as you were to provide for your family, that would be the most important thing. Like, for instance, if I would not have let those other two people through earlier, I would have been in the negative here. I wouldn't have made enough money to provide heat for my family, for instance. So it's probably a good thing that I let those two people through, even though, for instance, they might not have had the right documents or whatever. So you kind of have to, you're kind of in a moral dilemma with this game, which is very interesting. I find that really, really interesting. So that was one day in the life of a border checkpoint dude, I guess. And that's essentially what the game's about. Now, the game does open up later on. You have to pay more attention. There are more rules and stuff that are applied, so something to keep in mind. You definitely have to spend as much... You have to spend time verifying their documents, but at the same time, you really need to get them through at the same time. So it's really kind of hectic in that regard. But it's pretty cool. Game is called Papers, Please. As I mentioned, it's in the beta right now, but it recently got greenlit on Steam, so you will be seeing this game come out for Steam. I'm not sure when, but in the future. I think that's all I'm going to show you for today, really, this game. I don't want to spoil too much of it. So, guys, make sure to check me out on my channel at youtube.com/TheVerveNerd for other videos like this one. And if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell your friends about me. I'll see you next time, guys.